Can you hear me?
I have something to say.
Hello everybody and welcome to Project Shadow. You might know... wait, I did that wrong. I'm not used to having somebody sit next to me. Hi, I'm Charlie. You might know me better as sci-fi fantasy writer C.E. Dorset. And, sitting next to me is...
Brian! Hey everybody.
Yeah, the hubby hub that I often tell stories about. But it's cool because he doesn't listen to the podcast, so you all know things that he doesn't know that you know.
I know all.
No. Even the dog looked at you like that's crazy when you said it. Then she did do Surrender Belly.
She did Surrender Belly.
So Sasha is in the room with us, so she may be another guest host, because, you know, sometimes she likes to guest on the show. Today, we're going to talk about The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Part 1.
Yay!
Yay! Okay. Before we get started, and before we go into the spoiler section of the show, I have to say, this is not what I thought it was going to be, but it was what I hoped it was going to be as soon as I saw the trailer.
Yeah. Yeah, I was in the same boat, because I had great concerns. Because, you know, the promo stuff was talking about it, more adult Sabrina, this, that, and the other. And I was just like, what do you mean by more adult Sabrina? You know, like, I don't know. We're all used to the really kind of campy, was it 80s?
The Bewitched knockoff.
Yeah, Bewitched knockoff.
I'm sorry. The Adventures... I can never remember if it was The Adventures of Sabrina or just Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was basically Bewitched Junior Edition.
Where we all loved the cat because we had nightmares about the cat because
Oh,
it looked like some kind of possessed stuffed doll.
Oh, that stupid, stupid cat.
Yeah.
I know. A lot of people love Salem, and I don't want to detract from your love of Salem, but no, just put it this way. They could have just handed $5 to the Jim Henson Company and gotten a better cat.
Claymation would have been a better cat.
Very true. Very true. That cat was crazy. But anyway, when I first started watching the trailers for it, I got excited because it looked really good. And as you all know, for a very long period of time now, I've had two holes in my heart. One labeled Buffy the Vampire Slayer and the other labeled Charmed. And we're not going to talk about that CW thing yet.
No.
Eventually.
Well, part of the beef with that one is actually just beef with CW not getting it.
Yeah.
And
so I'm going to wait for that. I'm going to wait for Charmed to show up on Netflix and watch it without all the interruptions, because there's enough interruptions in that show as it is, getting to know the new cast and the characters and what they're trying to do with the world and trying to push my Charmed out of my head while watching it. So we'll talk about that later. But I've got these two little holes in my heart, and the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina found a way to slot right in both for me.
Yeah, really. If you're looking for a fix of either, it will. It does.
Because it found a way that I haven't seen, especially since Buffy went off the air, to be creepy, sometimes downright scary, and campy and fun at the same time. And I know the humor didn't land well with everybody. I've seen some reviews, and some people liked it a lot less than I did, and by a lot less than I did, I mean they absolutely hated it. But to me, you know, I don't understand that.
They're just lacking their dark soul to appropriately appreciate the humor involved.
And that's the thing, is this show is so much darker than I anticipated. Like, when they were doing the first trailer I saw was the one that started with Harvey. They're coming for you, Barbara. And I was like, okay, that's cute. They're starting with a reference to the Night of the Living Dead. And okay, that's cute. You know, But oh, the places that this show went.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready at all. But I'm kind of glad that it went there, and I'm hoping it doesn't soften its edge in any of the future parts. I think it found, for me, and I know this is not true for everybody, at least from some of the reviews that I saw and read, but for me, it found a wonderful balance between that macabre setting that it had, that it's trying to build, and the lighthearted humor that you expect from the Archie universe. And in fact, I feel like it did that better than Riverdale, because I kind of liked the first season of Riverdale, and then I kind of checked out of the show because, I just didn't care enough to keep watching. I might try to catch up on it at some point, but I don't like. This is to me why Zack Snyder's DC Universe movies didn't work. I don't like movies that are all downer all the time, and I don't like TV shows that are all downer all the time. And this really had the potential of being that show. And I don't know, I enjoyed the comedy that they were able to put into it.
Yeah, they really did hit that balance because you get that fun, the little tongue in cheek. You get the comedy bit. You also get serious moments, scary moments. Some of the horror aspects because it is a horror setting after all, and you still get that. I like that they fully embraced the setting elements of the setting. Where they talk about his Dark Lord, and they make sure to praise his dark name, and just those little things that was just hilarious because
I do and I don't, and we're now going to transition to the spoiler portion because I can't react to what you're saying without spoilers or things that people might consider spoilers. So if you have yet to watch The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on Netflix, part 1 is out, part 2 is coming in March, I believe.
I thought it's April, maybe March.
Maybe it's April. Early next year.
Yeah.
In the spring next year. Definitely check it out. You should watch it.
I started laughing because I went before Game of Thrones next year.
Everything's coming out before Game of Thrones. I will probably have the first of my 3-book series out before Game of Thrones starts up next year. I might actually have 2 books out before Game of Thrones starts.
Are you saying this last season might take so long to come out that Gurr might actually get the book out before it?
No, Gurr will never get the book out.
It's not going to take
Winter
that long.
is never coming.
I don't know. It's awfully cold out.
No, I'm sorry. Winds of Winter is never coming.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get people to prepare themselves for this. It's kind of like what was the name of the book? The New Shadow. Tolkien started writing a sequel to Lord of the Rings. He eventually decided against it, decided it was a bad idea, and all we have is scant notes on it. That's going to be what happens when Gurr finally leaves us. We're going to find notes, some sample chapters that he's gotten written over time, and variant versions probably of those chapters, and people are going to have to piece it together on their own because I don't think he wants it to end, and I don't think he knows how he wants it to end. But that's an entirely different subject. So now, spoilers. If you've sat through our discussion of Game of Thrones, which is, of course, our spoilers bumper, apparently. Have you noticed every time we talk about spoilers, Game of Thrones comes up? Every time. It's a weird thing that we do. You've been warned. From now on, spoilers. Okay, so you were talking about embracing...
Yeah, I thought that was really nifty that they pulled from, because it's story about witches and stuff. So they pulled from, there's some of these Wiccan reference and satanic references, but they're not fully clipped from or anything like that. They're just, it's more just part of enhancing the element. And I like that they, if you're around a religious family, there's a lot of praise Jesus or in God's name, let this be, and stuff like that. And instead
do you know any Muslims who hear, inshallah?
Yeah. And and so in place of that, they basically it's like a religious family, except for in place of that, it's
Thank the Dark Lord.
thank the Dark Lord, praise his dark name.
I believe the first time we ever hear that is Aunt Zelda saying "Hail Satan."
Yeah, saying "Hail Satan" or something like that, and it was just like, it was funny because on one hand it was like really jarring because, well, we're in a very religious area.
Oh, they know where we are. We're in the rusty buckle of the Bible Belt.
Yeah, by religious I mean they like to say a lot of that stuff out loud, and
Hey, they watched the movie. They didn't read the book.
yeah,
Yeah.
And so it was just funny because it was like, it was jarring at first.
It was
like,
very jarring,
which was great because I mean they're signing their name over to
the Book of the Beast.
Yeah, to follow the Dark Lord to get their powers, and so that would be befitting of a very religious family of that ilk.
To me, I almost feel like the satanic verses that she refers to at one point in the book is not actually like the Levian book, which of course was the tongue-in-cheek nod that they were giving to it, but is actually like Lucifuge 2, How the Gods Fell, How the Gods Kill, and
yeah,
basically Danzig's first 4 albums.
Yeah.
Because the type of Satanism that is present in this show is like what you would see in an obituary album, in a King Diamond tongue-in-cheek song, Merciful Fate, like, yeah. It's really that kind of like, it brings me back to the 80s and early 90s, and
the satanic panic of the period,
Yeah.
and like, yeah,
which is of course one of the reasons why the Church of Satan sued them, because they said they relied too heavily on the satanic panic imagery, and that was defamatory towards them and other such things. But I don't want to get into the lawsuit because I have weird feels there.
Well, yeah, because a lot of that imagery goes even further back, like into the Dark Ages and stuff.
Well, the Baphomet that they got sued for, I get with the kids, that was really their thing, but Baphomet, that particular depiction of Baphomet goes back to Eliphas Levi, and I believe that was in 1850.
Yeah.
And don't ask me why I know these things, I just know
Yeah.
things. But, it's the idea that you're trying to assert copyright or trademark over something that's that old, I get how copyright works, and technically once you make a sculpture, because his was a line drawing, it was a pen and ink line drawing, so once you make a sculpture, it is a new creative work, and blah, 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 blah. And of course the children were a new addition to it, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, meh.
Yeah, but
I don't care.
did they really file the copyright? Did they really? No.
You don't have to file copyright anymore.
I know, but I wonder if the sculptor's still. Well, I guess it'd still be early enough for the sculptor, even if the sculptor passed, to still be in the time period.
No, the sculptor was just like 5-6 years ago when they were trying to get the
Oh yeah,
statue
that's right. That was
in Oklahoma City next to the 10 Commandments.
Yeah, that was okay. That's the statue you were speaking of.
Yes.
Yeah, which actually, when we were first watching through, when we saw the statue, we were laughing very much because
I thought that they actually licensed and used the real one. So that goes to the lawsuit. But again, I don't want to get mired down in the lawsuit.
Yeah.
One of the one and only problem that I had with this show is I don't really have it against it. It's just, in context, it feels very weird and very out of place. And that is the casual way that cannibalism is treated.
Yeah.
In the Church of Night. Like, okay, the whole idea of the sacrament in that one episode with, the Queen of Winter or whatever,
Well, if anything, I think that goes to speak. See, I didn't.
It starts in the very first episode when the body's down in the.
Yeah, and they talk about. Too bad they couldn't.
It's been a long time since they've had long pig.
Yeah. And I thought that was an interesting tip of the hat to the problems existing in the Church of the Night, because they have this annual ritual where they cannibalize one of their own. And once they've ritualized it and made it normal, other cannibalistic acts are thus considered normal. And
And it was Zelda who said it, and
Yeah.
but I'm just saying that it feels that to me felt more out of place than, and like I said, we're in the spoiler stuff, and we're not necessarily sticking to timeline here. That felt more out of place than when Sabrina cold-bloodedly slit Dorcas's throat.
Yeah, see, for me, it was like, no, it was a way of sending a signal, going, there is things wrong with the Church of the Night, because it was a nice clear signifier where I was immediately going, okay, haha, yeah, these are the people we're following, and they're in the Church of the Night, but they're not good people necessarily,
No,
and especially because like it's part of Zelda's growth through this first part.
does
where
Zelda grow? We'll talk
she
about
d-
that in a minute.
Yeah, she
No,
is.
I want to talk about that in a minute. I want to hold that off.
Okay,
till
we'll
after
come
the
back to
break.
it, but I thought it was part of her growth.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more after the break. So before we do our break for the sponsor, I do have to say, all things included, I love the characters.
Yeah.
I'm really curious what they're doing with things. I am, if you have watched it, I highly recommend you go back and rewatch it and watch Salem like a hawk.
Salem is amazing.
Salem shows up in places where you do not expect to see Salem.
Yeah.
He does things.
We'll have to talk about that later too after the break.
Yeah.
Because Salem, ooh,
Salem's a thing.
yeah,
And we'll talk about that more in a minute. But yeah, definitely love the show. Love the show.
yeah.
And so
Highly recommend watching it.
we'll be right back after this word from our sponsor, which is done by me. And we're back. And thank you for being patient with all that. I still feel weird about having the sponsor on the episode, but hey, it keeps me from sounding so desperate at the end of the podcast when I ask for money. That's a bonus, right? Ryan's just sitting there staring at me like I'm not talking, not saying anything anymore. Okay, so back to Sabrina. I thought you would have joined in on that. Okay. So back to the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Yeah, when we last left off, we were talking about whether or not Zelda grew.
Yes.
I would like you to state your case in the affirmative so I can poke holes in it.
Yes. That's affirmative, is it not? No. Okay, so Zelda. So she starts off, cannibalism. It's all about the, praise the Dark Lord, the church, blah, blah, blah. She does have some family, but I mean, let's be honest, she murders her sister right away because she talked too much. Now, yes, we've all been angry at our siblings for
She
talking
annoyed
too
me,
much,
so I
but
killed her and buried her in the yard.
yeah, like where's your sister at? I mean, yeah.
I'd say that's probably my favorite line in the entire series.
That's because all of us with siblings have been there where we felt like we kind of wanted to just take a hammer to them because they were talking too much or wouldn't shut up about things or just, I don't know.
Yes, because I was the younger sibling that they all tried to take the hammer to.
Yeah.
We've talked about your abusive nature when it comes to siblings.
Yes, throwing them across rooms because they won't be quiet.
Yeah.
No.
No,
So yeah, and then of course, as the part one goes on, her love of family and loyalty to family helps her to see flaws in the church. And
I don't think she ever sees a flaw in the church.
I think she does.
I don't. I disagree. I disagree.
She gets a little distracted with her penance.
No, that's what she sees the problem in. She sees a problem in Father Blackwood. She does not see a problem in the church. Ah, stumped you there. Yeah. She has... I do not believe by the end that she has changed her mind on whether or not Sabrina should have joined.
She was genuinely appalled at the cannibalism ceremony, and she she was kind of, I mean, yeah, she's happy Sabrina is joined by the end, but she turned around. She was like, she started to have questions. And
I don't know. I think questions is too strong.
no, because after Sabrina helps her to start to question some things. I don't think she's, it's not a full conversion. I mean, but
no, I'm not saying
but
she had a full conversion, and I'm not trying to say that you have to prove that she did. I'm saying that what she actually starts finding fault with is realizing that Father Blackwood has as many illegitimate children as the Dark Lord wishes he did, and that he is not trustworthy with any of them, which is why she ends up kidnapping one of them.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't trust him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She totally doesn't trust him.
Yeah. That is a difference than no longer being in line with her beliefs in the Church of Night. I don't think those have wavered at all since the beginning. I think she's still as... I don't even know how to say this. Dyed in the wool a Satanist as she was in episode 1. But she no longer has the absolute faith that she had in Father Blackwood from the beginning.
Yeah, but the removal of the blind faith is part of her growth. Just because the tomato plant has flowers, dang it, it has grown. This is an inside joke, folks. Sorry. I planted these tomato plants, these darn things. They grew giant. They produced no tomatoes. They finally had flowers. Still no tomatoes.
Still no tomatoes.
But it is growth.
Never doubted that they grew. I never doubted that they grew.
But you doubt that she's had growth as a character.
I don't see it. And I'm not saying that she's not a better person at the end than at the beginning, I think, but because she is as devoted to the Spellman family at the end of the season as she was at the beginning of the season. The only difference is she's no longer taking Father Blackwood's word for what that means to be a good member of the Church of Night and what it means to be a good member of the Spellman family. And she's fully seen Sabrina as a Spellman.
Yeah.
Which, through the series, she kind of saw her as a half-breed mongrel in much the same way the Weird Sisters did.
Yeah, this is true, but that's part of the yeah.
Yes, but you're saying that she ended up growing out of some of her more... I can't believe we're arguing over how satanic somebody is and their growth.
I don't think she would engage in a cannibalistic feasting. Well,
I do.
Okay.
I think she was appalled at what happened because it was not a proper rite.
Okay. I was thinking of the Dream Demon, but that's kind of early on as well, ish. I guess it's kind of in the middle.
It's kind of in the middle.
But,
Batty Bat.
Yeah, Batty Bat.
Batty Bat. The best thing about Batty Bat is an actual Sumerian demon. That's an actual name of a Sumerian demon from Sumer. Like,
great.
You can go and read, like, ancient Sumerian spells to get rid of Batty Bat.
Nice.
That's not, like, just something that they created for the Archie comics or for this show. Batty Bat is a thing. And if you actually want to learn more about that, if you search British Museum Batty Bat, the first time, a couple years ago, they were doing dives into the collections at the British Museum. And one of the things that they actually showed was a tablet with the spell against Batty Bat on it. And if I remember correctly, it was a lady who was showing off the tablet. She actually reenacted the ritual to get rid of Batty Bat.
Nice.
In there. And it is not that different. It's not too distinct from what we see in the show. And I'm pretty sure that video was watched by the writers of the show. Just because it's available. It's on the YouTube. But yeah, Batty Bat's real. And fun to say. Batty Bat.
Batty Bat.
Batty Bat. Batty Bat has been in my house lately, and it's annoying.
What'd you think of Purgatory?
I have weird feelings about... And it wasn't really Purgatory, it was Limbo.
Sorry, Limbo. You're right.
And...
my mistake. That was Limbo.
Yeah, that was Limbo. I like the look of it. I think aesthetically, it was very interesting. If there was, for me, a weak episode of the series, that would have been it. For a couple reasons. One, I don't think we've spent enough time with, let's just say, Ms. Wardwell.
Love her.
I don't know. Well, this is the spoiler-filled part of the show, so
yeah.
I believe they reveal that she is Madame Satan by the end of the season.
Yes.
Yeah,
because that's part of the additional tension between her and Sabrina.
And so that's something that, they haven't spent enough time with her for us to really know her motivations, because the time we do spend with her, she seems very devoted to the Dark Lord, and she seems very interested in making sure that his goals, dreams, and ambitions come to fruition. But having said that,
yeah,
that episode in particular seems to go against the grain of that entire thing. This may be one of those places where writing logic and plot superseded character logic and story, but it seemed much more like a writerly part of the episode, unless she has some other ulterior motive. Why would she open the gate for Sabrina to go into Limbo in the first place? Why was she helping?
Well, she wanted to sabotage she knows Sabrina's going to try to do this anyhow.
Yes.
She wanted to make sure that Sabrina got, what didn't get in over her head or get into deep trouble, because she's got to keep her safe. And also she's got to ensure that she fails because the boyfriend's brother needs to stay a husk. It needs to be a zombie, I guess, for lack of better terms. I know we were expecting way more zombie at that point.
They a lot more zombie.
Yeah, they started with Night of the Living Dead, and it was just like,
I feel like we need a lot more of, well, and I'm not just saying this because I love the actress so much, because Michelle Gomez, I mean, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I love her. I love her since Green Wing. Green Wing is the first thing I ever remember seeing her in. If you want to see her as a... I'm trying to think of an analogous character in something else. She's the HR manager at the hospital in the show, and oh my goodness, she's bawdy, she's randy, she sticks her tongue into everything. It's if you're into dirty times,
it's almost show. Like
we actually reviewed it ways back.
Kind of like Michael Scott when he has his awkward interactions with females he's kind of interested in the earlier seasons of The Office. But if you took it to, no, those were intentional actions, and go 3 steps further.
Well, see, the character that I was actually thinking of that works for her, most people in the audience would have no idea who it is. If you've ever seen the TV show Late Line, it only got 1 season a long time ago. There was a character on that show named Mona, who was a mousy secretary for one of the on-screen talents on the show. She's like, if they could have gotten away with writing her the way the character wanted to be written, she would have been...
Yeah, her Green Wing character.
Yeah. So, yeah. But, nobody knows that show, so...
Yeah.
That was a long time ago. Early 90s, long time ago.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. I want to know more about her ambitions, and I'm not faulting the show for that, because this is part 1. We don't know how many parts they're intending. Because I always assume when I see parts... That means that they're saying that this is not an ongoing series, that we have a story that we're telling. It's got a beginning, middle, and end kind of a thing. Yeah. Because most of the shows that they've done part instead of season.
That's how it was handled. Yeah. With her, I think that, you start to get the first big tip of the hat there, right at the, or tip of the hand, right at the end of part one. I almost got this feel like, it's like the laws of the harem. If the first wife is still around, you better watch out because she still rules. That's why she's still around. And
I'm not sure if that statement is sexist or not. But I get your meaning.
You get what I'm saying.
I get your meaning, but I don't like the way you got there.
Satan runs a harem, basically. He has his wives.
Satan runs a brothel.
His wives and concubines, and she is the first wife, and she has been clever enough, both in keeping Satan happy, and also in whatever backstabbing and manipulating is needed to have been done to maintain her position as first wife. And I think that's the thing is, I gotta feel like Sabrina demonstrates in being able to call up Hellfire a lot of the power that she does have within her, and obviously Satan probably wants her in his harem, whether it's as a concubine, as a wife, don't know that.
See, you just went in a way that makes me not like the show anymore.
You don't think that's
if that's the plot of the show, I don't like it. I don't want to see a goat man trying to have sex with Sabrina.
I wasn't talking about sex itself. I'm talking about, because that's one thing they have done very well. These are, she's a 16-year-old. They've done a very good job at, keeping things
he definitely
adult
wants
and not...
her in his coven, and he wants to use her to bring about the end of the world.
Well, I was trying to talk about the dynamics of... Okay, I'm sorry. Sex aside, trying to talk about the dynamics of the social dynamics of, husband, other wives, and concubines.
Yeah, but I don't... If that's where they're going with the show, it's trash, and I don't want to watch it anymore.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. Like, she's 16.
Well, yeah. Yeah, no, I
sorry. I can get past the cannibalism, but that's a step too far. And I don't think that's where they're going with the show.
Yeah, okay, continuing on. You dropped sex into it, I'm done anyhow, yeah.
Well, you're talking about husbands and harems. That's what that is.
Well, I was talking about more of the
dynamics of the coven.
Intrigue and
of the coven.
Of the coven. Yeah.
Then I'm okay.
Okay.
That was Jinx for anybody who heard the cat. The cat makes our familiar makes a guest appearance on the show. Yeah, no, sorry. That just went away that I was not comfortable with. But yeah, I think the two characters in the upcoming parts that that most people aren't expecting to see big surprises from are Ms. Wardwell.
Yeah.
Who I think is going to... I think she's going to become a faction in and of herself.
Yeah.
At some point, and I'm not sure how that's going to shake out. And Salem.
Yeah. Yeah, Salem, you have some very interesting thoughts on Salem.
My personal theory is that the witch who shows up dead at the very beginning of the series was killed by Salem. And I don't know why. My theory is not complete enough to know why he killed him, but I have a feeling that the goblin known as Salem, who has taken the body of the cute little cat, is actively working to thwart the work of the Dark Lord for some reason. He has a vendetta. Like I said, rewatch the show, and wherever the action is, look elsewhere. You will be shocked how many times Salem is in the corner doing something when you're distracted because all this stuff's happening over here, but if you look in the corner, there's that stupid cat doing something. And he's a black cat, and it's a very shadowy show, and so it's easy to miss him.
Yeah.
But he is everywhere, doing everything. Salem is the only character in the entire series who knows everything.
Yeah. Yeah, Salem's done some interesting things. Well, back to the whole, if Miss Wardwell is looking to take over because, say, she's done with the male failed run So
I
Coven.
do think that that's where that's.
Um,
I do think that that's where
I
that's
kind of
going.
think that's where. Yeah, I kind of think so too. Like this was her last attempt at following him, and she's seeing his plans as being stupid and nearsighted again. And I think that I think that she's going to try a power grab. I actually kind of wondered. She was so indifferent with her other familiar
Yeah,
and
she
quick to
just
kill
kills
it.
Yeah,
You don't think she sent Salem
I don't know.
to have?
Like I said, we haven't spent enough time with her to have any idea what her motives are. We meet her on her own terms when she shows up and kills Miss Wardwell and takes her form. We see her after on her own terms. Like when I say that, I mean like separate from Sabrina, where she's not having to put on airs,
Yeah.
right? Or the school where she has to put on airs and be Miss Wardwell, where we get to see her.
Yeah,
The next time we see her as her,
isn't it Batty Bat?
no, it's when Sabrina refuses to sign the book on her dark baptism, and we see her in front of the fireplace in her house begging the forgiveness of the Dark Lord.
Yeah,
Then there's Batty Bat, and then I would say the next time is with the Opep, the worm.
yeah,
We get to see her, but we don't get any sense of her motives in any of these things. We see her, but she is we there's no point in this story so far where we get to see her doing her thing. She's working. She's either working for the devil, she's begging forgiveness for the devil from the devil, or working to thwart the actions of another demon. We don't get to see her reactions to get to know what her motivations are.
yeah. And that's why I figured she killed the familiar, her familiar, the crow, just because that was someone who was around her a lot, at least for this part, and knew too much. And that's the other interesting thing with her is that we do know at least she ties up loose threads and she doesn't like people to know. Like we as audience members know that she's Lilith because that got revealed.
Yeah.
But nobody else does.
Right. So I am very curious to see where this show goes. This episode's growing a little long, so I want to start the process of wrapping up. A couple other things. We kind of touched on the Weird Sisters.
Well, I guess in wrapping up, we could, see, if the audience would like to hear more on certain topics.
I was going to get to that part.
Oh, sorry, I jumped ahead.
You jumped ahead. Spoilers! Okay, so I just wanted to touch on a few other things. The Weird Sisters, I thought were interesting. I really liked them. I liked the cold-blooded Sabrina just slitting Dorcas's throat.
Yeah.
Because for everybody who's like, that's out of her character, how would she do that? Why would she do that? She knew it wasn't real. It was like any kid playing make-believe. She knew she could bury her and get her to come back. She didn't know there would be consequences to that. So it was any kid playing make-believe.
Yeah. She had a plan. The plan was solid.
Yeah.
She was going to follow the plan.
Yep.
She forgot the rest of it.
Yeah. That's a Legends of Tomorrow thing.
The plan will fail, and then you have to do a new plan.
I really, really like that. I'm really curious what they're doing with our Shining girl.
Yeah.
You've got the Shining girl. I am really curious what they're going to be doing with that storyline. That I don't know. I could see that going I could see that going several different ways. I'm not sure what they're going to do with the Kinkles, though that they have plans because they wouldn't bring in Ty from Battlestar Galactica for no reason.
Yeah.
To play Grandpa Kinkle, like that wouldn't happen. Like there's a reason there, and we're going to get more of that. And I'm really curious about that. And I love the fact that there is I know canonically from the comics, the character of Susie is genderqueer, She is a non-binary, that's the word I was trying to find, character in the comics. I'm using the pronoun she because so far on the show, they've stuck to using that for Susie, and I'm trying to keep all comments to the show. I'm really curious how they do this character. I've liked how they've done it so far. I felt a little weird that the ghost kept calling her a boy, because if she's non-binary, that's not, I don't think, the way the spirit would see her. But I don't know what they're doing with her on with Susie on the show.
Grandma did as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what they're doing with Susie on the show. I am excited to see a trans character in this show, and I'm curious to see how that plays out. But right now, I am cautiously optimistic.
And also, the interesting thing with her, probably not seeing ghosts, it's probably Lilith, but it could be ghosts.
I think she's seeing ghosts.
You think she's actually seeing ghosts?
I think she's actually seeing ghosts.
You don't think that's Lilith?
No.
I'm on the fence on that one, but that's, we won't get into that.
No, I think she's actually seeing ghosts.
Okay.
I think what we're going to learn is that basically each of our main characters, their ancestors, because we now know that Susie's family helped save as many of the witches as she could back in the day and help bring them across the sea to come here. We know that Harvey's family were witch hunters. You know what I'm saying? Like, each character is getting a link back to something.
Yeah.
And I think I think it's going to pay off at some point. And of course, remember, she's seeing ghosts at a point when the veil was very thin.
True that.
So
yeah.
It doesn't require Susie having any supernatural powers for that to have happened. She was thinking a lot about her grandmother. She was reading her diary at the time. She had pictures of her out and stuff. It's not unreasonable that she would have seen her. But the last person that I don't think we've talked about enough is, first of all, Kieran Shipka, who plays the part of Sabrina. I thought did an amazing role. She's really good at being that cutesy girl when she needs to be cutesy girl. And I really bought it when she cut Dorcas's throat.
Yeah.
When she needed to be serious. And she has a really good touch of the Scream Queen in her too. Like, when she's running through the forest and the forest is grabbing her, and she emotes very well, which is very necessary for this type of a role.
Yeah.
So...
yeah, she did a great job.
We can't leave our first review without saying, wow,
yeah.
She's really
That
good.
would really be missing the mark, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And finally, oh my goodness, Richard Coyle as Father Blackwood. He is a great actor. He's a great voiceover actor. In fact, we just finished The Silmarillion as read by him.
Yeah.
Really good. I'd love to see him in this part. I think he's got the ability to play up the humor that he needs to and the seriousness of it, and I think he's going to be a delicious villain for the show. And again, we can't wrap up our first review without
shout outs to Ambrose. Ambrose is awesome.
Oh, Ambrose! How did we do this entire episode and not talk about Ambrose?
Because there wasn't enough time.
Yeah, there's not enough time. So Ambrose, great character. Can't wait to find out more about him. And of course, the aunties. Such good casting. I love this show. As Brian was saying earlier, if you would like us to do more episodes on Sabrina, obviously we can talk a lot about it. Let me know. You can hit me up on Twitter. I'm C. Dorset on Twitter. You can hit us up at Project Shadow on Facebook. You can go to projectshadow.com and find links to all my social media. I pretend to be on...
Send us specific questions, or if there's parts you want us to elaborate more on, or if... you just want more. Just say that.
And this is one of those great times where if you have the Anchor app on your phone, which you can get very easily by going to anchor.fm, follow us on Anchor, and in there, you will see a call-in button. I think it says voice message now. At any rate, you can hit that button and leave us a 1-minute voice message. Keep it clean, and I'll use it on the show. We've actually done several episodes based off of your call-ins, and I love them. You can leave a question, you can leave a comment, you can just give a suggestion about something you'd like the show to be about, or, hey, if you know some news that I'm not talking about and you want to hear what it is, share it. Just remember, you got 1 minute. It cuts you off. It's very It is an app. Yes, it is an app. It is not forgiving. Even for the Flapton. Cut her off. She found it quite rude.
Oh.
So that helps out a lot.
Stupid answering machines.
If you have a couple dollars that you can pass our way, if you look at depending on the app that you're in, there will either be a button that says support, or if you go to the show notes, there will be a link that says support on Anchor. If you click that, you can support at the $1, $5, or $10 levels. That really does help out a lot. And, if we start making enough on that, I'll get rid of the sponsors. I'll get rid of the ads. But, I write a lot. Brian and I run a restaurant together. We do a lot of things. And unfortunately, we live in a capitalist society and require the money. And that's sad. That's a whole other topic. But it really does help out a lot. If you'd like to support everything that I do, including the books, head over to Project Shadow, head over to patreon.com/CE Dorset and sign up over there. A little note on that is when the audiobooks drop, hi Jinx, when the audiobooks drop, they will be available free at a certain level on Patreon. So if that's something that you want to grab, go over there, check that out for details. And I believe that's it. It's been a lot going on today. If you want us to do more episodes, though, do definitely let me know, because I could talk about this show a lot because I really, really liked it. Anyway, until next time, I'm Charlie.
I'm Brian.
And don't forget, have the fun. Bye.
Bye-bye.